So let's be clear. You can plan, you can communicate, but at the end of the day, it's the outcome, it's the delivery that actually counts. Careers don't move because you you planned. They move because of the outcome you were able to deliver. Yes, communicating and getting along with your team is important, but if you got along with the team, everybody was your friend, and you didn't deliver the outcome that your project was meant to deliver, you haven't done what you were supposed to do. Right? So being delivery focused is really important as a project manager, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hi, my name is Ola, and if this is the first video you're catching in this series, wow, we've been talking about a lot of things over the last 4 videos. It's a series called Turning Your Work into Experience That Counts. I've been talking about the skills and the behaviors and things you really need right now to make sure that you're future-proofing your career. I've talked about things that I learned in my 15 years experience as a project manager and what I've observed with my students and with my mentees along the way. Hopefully it's been helpful. If you've been following through on all the videos, please leave a comment. I'd like to know if any of the videos or any of the examples I provided have resonated with you. If there's a particular situation that you're facing that you'd like me to talk about or make into a video, I'd like to know. I will answer all the comments. So please go ahead and leave a comment. I'll be glad that you did so. Also, please go ahead and subscribe if you found this video and all the other videos useful in the series. All right, now let's get into today's video. So delivery means moving things to the finish line, right? Not things going on, projects going on forever with no end date. People are updating, people keep updating, people keep discussing, people keep improving. That's not a project. It has to have an end date. When are we going to finish it? And usually, what you need to do to be able to finish it is you have to define what done means. What needs to stop for this project to be able to end? What does success on this project look like? What does done look like? You have to define that so that you can finish the project. Many project managers, good project managers, will be uncomfortable if a project it keeps on going. There's no end date. No, even if the client wants additions, usually you want to finish one phase before a new phase starts. Otherwise, it's just an ongoing. That is if it keeps on going, that's no longer a project. That is continuous development or business as usual, right? And you're not doing that because that's not what we're doing in project management. You should be uncomfortable if there's no clear end date and there's no clear criteria for ending the project. So because if once you know what the criteria is, then you can keep the goal in mind and you can keep the team focused on that singular end goal. It's really important that you do that as a project manager. Let's go on to the next thing. One of your roles as a project manager is to protect your delivery and help everyone to focus on what is really important on your project. One of the reasons why we have delivery risk is because there are too many conflicting priorities. Scope creep comes into play. There are too many things half done all over the place. So you want to be clear on what is the work that we have agreed to do and what is saying in work in progress, right? Anything else, when it comes up, the question is, it can be done, but does it have to be done now? So here's the question you want to ask. If we add this new thing, what do we have to drop? What do we need to finish first before we start this new thing that you have mentioned, this addition that you have added in? And if we don't do this right now, what's the damage? Right? You want to ask that question and so that you can push back and keep your project in line. Now, earlier on in my project management career, my default response was no, we can't add that scope, we're not doing it. But in reality, it can't work that way. You have to understand that sponsors may want something different. They may change their mind, right? But that's why you have a change management process to deal with those kind of situations. So you're not going to be a computer says no kind of person, but you're going to work through the process of getting to the answer in a logical sequence. And you also need to make sure that the sponsor knows that even the working to get to the answer has a consequence on the project at hand. So usually you want to pack some of those add-ons to another phase of the project if possible. So one of the things that you have to do if you want to make sure that you're focused on delivery is, as a project manager, you want to be removing the blockers quickly. So that's why, remember, in one of the other videos, I was talking about changing your communication if you have to. If you were having meetings once a day, so if you were having meetings on a weekly basis before, and there's a situation on your project, or you want to get more focus on delivery, you might choose to have daily stand-ups instead, right? So imagine you're having daily stand-up, for instance. What you're trying to do is to make sure that you're surfacing blockers quickly. You're clear on assigning who owns that blocker and who is helping to sort out that blocker. And then you are following up on that blocker until it is resolved. So it's not enough to assign the blocker to someone and say, well, you're responsible for resolving this. No, as a project manager, you need to keep on asking what's happening. Are there issues? Is there anything I can help facilitate this? Sometimes you might need to get extra approvals or extra permissions to get your project moving in the right direction. You support the process, right? In whatever capacity that you can to make sure it moves. So you don't leave it. You follow through until that problem is resolved. So you've done all of that work. You have been delivery focused, and the project, you've completed the project now. But the fact that work has stopped doesn't mean that you have finished your project. No, not yet. Your project is finished when the project is live. The ownership of the project has been transferred to BAU operations. BAU stands for business as usual, to the business as usual team, and you have correctly closed out the project. To correctly close out the project, you would have done your lessons learned. You would have done your project closure report as well. You would have closed out your books, your finances, and anything else that needs to be closed. If you would have identified if there's any risks that are remaining that need to be transferred to business as usual or need to still be monitored going forward. When you've closed it out neatly, that's when your project is finished. This is how work turns into experience. All of these steps with the right thinking, not mechanically just doing it, with the right thinking in mind, this is how you get the experience that you need. Project managers that get trusted are managers that finish what they start. They protect the focus, make sure that we get to the finish line. They communicate clearly. They manage the stakeholders well. They help to remove obstacles, and then they close the loops. They close the loose ends. That, my friends, is how you translate your work into experience. Now, here's the assignment for today. I want to create a delivery checklist. What must be finished this week? Who or what is blocking it? Who owns removing the block? What does done look like? And who accepts the outcome? So try that the next time you're at work. So if you apply all the things we talked about in this playlist, that's what turns effort into results. If you want to be part of a community where we guide you, you get feedback, and we support you on your journey to being a project manager or winning as an early stage project manager, the community is your first project. The link is in our description somewhere below. And I'll see you in the next video.